A new caravan of at least 1,500 migrants are rushing to the southern border, trying to make it before President-elect Trump takes office as Texas steps up to help Trump's border agenda.
While we're working on deporting the people, we also have to be equally successful at denying illegal entry. That includes putting up the barriers and doing everything possible to prevent anybody from crossing between a port of entry. We are expanding those buoys in the river. They are completely effective at denying illegal entry, and a byproduct that costs less than building a border wall, which Texas is doing also.
This comes as the Biden administration quietly loosens immigration policies. Former acting ICE Director Ron Vitiello joins us now. Ron, thanks for joining us this morning. So explain to us this quiet loosening. What exactly has the Biden administration done under the cover of night, actually, to loosen the rules? What are these rules?
Well, thanks for inviting me, Rachel. This is another example where the Biden-Harris administration are going to bring down the rules for in-person check-ins for the 8 million people who are on the non-detained docket at ICE. And so under normal conditions, people would go monthly or every other month or quarterly, depending on what their immigration officer has determined is a successful way for them to report in, to make sure they're on track for their supposed due process in immigration court, whether or not they're going to be able to stay in the United States or not. And so what we know from experience, what I know from experience, both in the Border Patrol and at ICE, is that people who are not detained before they see an immigration judge are not likely to be removed. So when you pull down the in-person reporting to something that's virtual, you're telling the world, just like this administration has told the world about the border, they don't really care about enforcing immigration law. They're not too concerned about the people who are on the non-detained docket, even though there are 1.5 million of that 8 million who have criminal records in the United States or in a foreign country.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable to me. I mean, there was a message sent in this election that people didn't want this. And before they leave office, they're like, we're going to make sure as many of these illegals get in as possible with as little vetting as possible. It's remarkable to me that they can't read the room. I want to talk about this. This is Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey. She's saying she's not going to cooperate with Trump. Listen.
Would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
No, absolutely not. I think that the key here is that, every tool in the toolbox has got to be used to protect our citizens, to protect our residents, and protect our states, and certainly to hold the line on democracy and the rule of law.
Ron, this is fascinating because this, of course, this statement is on the heels of ICE in Boston arresting 3 illegal immigrants, a child sex predator, an MS-13 gang member, and a Brazilian drug trafficker, as sanctuary cities in blue states continue to harbor these criminals. What say you?
It's bizarre. She talks about the rule of law, but that she doesn't want to assist in raising the quality of life of her constituency in the state. Think about it. Who is she protecting? She's trying to protect people who have entered the country illegally, not been invited here, not been inspected, not been vetted, people who are in the country illegally and then are in Massachusetts and break other laws in order to be arrested by local authorities. But she doesn't want to help ICE or help immigration enforcement in the United States. And the people who are affected the most by this are people in poor communities, and people who are in the working class, people who have to live amongst, what we know now are criminals, these Brazilians that you were just talking about. They did heinous things to children, and this is who she wants to protect. I'm not sure what the state of Massachusetts cares about, but I think the quality of life in cities and towns all over the United States are being affected by the millions of illegal aliens that are here and millions of them who will go on to commit crimes in these communities. And so that's not the rule of law. It's bizarre for her to say those words out loud. It's just crazy to me.
No, it's insane. And you're right. She sits in a governor's mansion with all kinds of security and protection. And these criminals, as you mentioned, one of them a child predator, are able to roam around in the neighborhoods of the most vulnerable communities, the poorest communities, and they're the ones who suffer the consequences. Ron Vitiello, thanks for joining us this morning. I appreciate it.